we are going to talk about something really crucial, and this video can potentially be the most important definitive video for your audiophile career. So please pay very close attention, and I'm not kidding about this. We are going to go into the number one issue in audio, and if you fix this now for yourself, you are going to speed up your audio journey tenfold. If you just skip it, don't pay attention, or you think this is BS, then you will most probably spend years and years, maybe decades, going in the wrong direction, and then figuring out after a lot of pains that, dang, I went the wrong way, wrong turn, and you have to turn back, and you have wasted decade of your life and a lot of money on it, and perhaps your well-being and sanity. So everyone is looking for the secret in audio, what makes it tick, what makes it successful, and there are aspects of the sound that we can measure, which is objective, like how many watts an amplifier puts out, what is the speaker sensitivity, things like that, frequency response, dynamic range. These are parameters that we are doing a more or less good or bad job of how to measure it. There's a lot of debate on it. What measurement technique is good, or is it good at all? But the implication, what it's worth, what we measure, does it have any implication on sound quality? That's highly dubious. There have been lots of debates about it. For a fact, everyone knows that measurements are really good because they allow a company, they allow a manufacturer to do quality control. But beyond that, we understand very little on how measurements impact sound quality. And the problem with that is that measurements are objective, but how you perceive sound quality, it is subjective. So for each of us, we put an emphasis on something else. Generally in the audio community, people think that people hear different things, and it was Real Hi-Fi Help who first pointed out that that's bogus. Everyone hears the same thing, and it should be easy to tell if it's a good sound or a bad sound. However, what I would like to add to this is that we hear the exact same thing, and the way our brains are wired to process sound, it's the same mechanism. So we have the same software for all of us, and our basic hardware is also the same, but based on life experiences and genetic background, your hearing sensitivity can be vastly different at the extremes. So for the bass and the high end, it can be totally different from person to person. And even more importantly, what you are used to hearing, your education, that impacts your preferences a lot. So that's why as you go through your life, you can go from liking one kind of sound, how things sound, to a totally different kind of sound. But much more importantly than that, you need focus. Everyone needs focus, and focus is the key to audio. And I show the example of several people. Actually, I will show two examples to follow through how those two people cracked audio and made it a success for themselves. And the first one I'd like to talk about is Peter Qvotrup. Here in the background he's holding his capacitor there, the Kaizen line, and Peter Qvotrup was the first one in audio who cracked the road to audio happiness. And let's see how he did it. So this is his listening system, and it's very different from just about 99% of the pictures you see on the internet. Everywhere you see systems which look like a robot manufacturing center or a spaceship console, and it's all about the gear. So you walk into the room, and the first thing that pops and that pokes out your eyes literally is a massive rack system, massive speakers, cables everywhere, and maybe the guy demoing the speakers and his stuff has maybe like a CD or a little streamer or 2 records somewhere in the corner. He has to look for it. And here we have a totally different balance. You just see, there are record racks everywhere, and records on the floor, records on the speakers. It's just like, it looks like this person is totally going nuts about music. So that's the key. Place music at the first place, and then comes the stereo. If you are into audio because of the sound and not because of the music, you are going the wrong way. Why am I saying that? It's because this also came to me as a late realization that it's not a special recording that makes music joyful. If you voice your system in such a way that it allows you access to the music you love, then that music will sound the best you ever heard, and you will have the best time in your life. Today we see the opposite trend, and not just today. I've seen it basically, I would say from the 70s on. That was before my time. I was just born in the late 70s, but from the 90s on we had this trend became really strong, that the industry started making specialized recordings and specialized equipment to play just certain types of music well. So and they left behind the majority of the recorded material. They said, we don't need that. I think it's hopeless to make it sound good. Let's just create our own recording methods and specialize a system for that to make it sound good. But by over specializing, it also makes the rest of the recorded music unlistenable. If you have a high level stereo system, then you know that if you try to play an average record, an average music, perhaps think back like to the time before you became an audiophile and name your 10 most favorite music. Most probably, if you have a really high-end system, you cannot play, maybe you can play only 1 out of those 10. And that's the dead end. Do not go that way, because you will be still having good experiences by having a specialized system, listening to specialized music, but you will realize once you own such a system for years and years, maybe decades, is that it is a very shallow thing. and you are a dog chasing its own tail, and you just want sound quality, and you are not getting quality time. You do not get close to the music because you are chasing sound quality. So here what Peter is doing, he's really into music, and he collects what he loves, and he collects like totally diverse stuff, wide range, and that's the hardest to reproduce. So when you look at today's audio systems and companies, and you look at reviewers talking about best speaker, best amp, it's best only for a certain genre of music, or certain tracks. Of the most high-end gear, when you go and check out $1 million system, you will notice that they demo it with the same 5 tracks. They don't play anything else. And that's because usually they are voiced in such a fashion that they play an extremely limited set of music at a very spectacular quality. But when you go for your favorite music, put on Michael Jackson or whatever, maybe Cranberries, or some old recording, maybe it's a mono recording that your grandpa used to listen to it, something like that, and then you won't be able to listen to it, not let alone enjoy it. But the good news is that once you step beyond this idiotic over specialized level, there is a next level that Audio Note is about, that plays every music in a way that you can connect to it. True, you lose your ability to paint your over specialized music type of scenarios. So those recordings which sound really spectacular on a showy system, they will sound maybe like 20% less spectacular in a system that is not specialized. And this is the only reason why we have over specialized systems, because they paint a prettier picture. It's like adding a bunch of silicone or makeup. Use of clever makeup will make someone potentially prettier, but it's like putting the same makeup on, and maybe some makeup that looks good on Beyonce will probably not look so good on Pavarotti or on a piano, right? So that's what I mean by get a system that does not apply makeup on your music. And such a system is possible. There are such things. It's totally elusive. It's not in the mainstream audio community common knowledge. I just talked about this with a good friend of mine, with Greg, and he really mentioned that it's a truly rare situation that a system is voiced to be able to play a wide range of music. And that's mainly up to the speakers. So your speakers are the one which define about 75-80% of how your system is specialized. And the Audio Note speakers are such speakers that they are not specialized in a certain genre. Vandersteen makes such speakers that they are not over specialized, but they are balanced. So the key here is balance. And how can you build a balanced system? Here comes the advice. So getting a system that brings you balance requires commitment from you, a severe, serious commitment that you have to make right now if you haven't made it yet. And that is trust your ears and your feelings. Trust yourself. If you do not trust what you hear, then this is going to be totally futile for you. So I've said this before, that you can have $1 million dream sound system and it will be totally worthless for you. You will not be able to enjoy it. It will hinder you greatly in your audio journey unless you become the $1 million audiophile first. You have to make your knowledge, your ears, your intuition on audio, and your knowledge how to set things up, how to create balanced sound, that has to be worth $1 million. And then you can put together a system that will bring joy to your life or to someone else's life. But if you neglect this and you just think that I will collect a big pot of money, give it to someone, purchase some equipment, and then I'll be happy forever, no. That's the road to audio hell. You will never be happy that way. That way you will just develop an addiction for yourself to superficial sound. And it will stray you away from your favorite music. It will put you in a loop to chase a few select recording labels, and within that maybe they have like 2 or 3 recordings that sound spectacular, and then you will end up with like maybe like 5 pieces of music that you are playing and nothing else. And it's not that good. I've seen people on that road, and ultimately it leads to audio burnout and lots of problems in life. And all of this is because we have a really bad mental health in the audio community. Because when we look at the media, the message is that there's a wise guy, maybe an old guy, maybe a young guy, whatever, but some celebrity, some media celebrity, and he defines everything for you. He tells you what's best. He tells you what do you need. And surprise, it gets exponentially more expensive to step to the next level. And this type of mentality, when you are in this world, in this universe, it stunts your growth. You won't be able to reach to the next step. And the problem is, this is the key problem, because there's some truth in it. So if there's a wise guy, he knows something. That's why he's a wise guy, right? And it's true that with more money you can get a better system, right? It's all true. However, this is the problem with it. Look for the advice from 5 different experts, and they will give you 5 completely different advice. They will set you on totally different paths. And who is right? All of them are right. Because the path they recommend works for themselves. So, for example, there's one guy and this is his path. There's some push-pull tube amplifier and a nice record player. And there's another guy and he has that sort of system. Who is right? Both of them are right. However, this is not my cup of tea, this type of scenario, but look at this guy's room. I think those are some CDs or records on the side too. So even though that's not my path, I would recommend to investigate this guy's system further, because he listens to a lot of music, and find out what he did to his system, how he progressed on his journey that allowed him to create a system that he's happy with. Because if you are not happy with your system, you won't be listening to so many different music. So now I will show you my system. I just add you one more wise guy who tells you what to do. And I just put a picture here because I don't want to make you seasick with waving my camera around. I took this a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, and I want to show you something. And I did not take this for the purpose of using it for any sort of video or whatnot. Then I didn't even think I ever have a YouTube channel. But check this out. You see these things here laid out? That's music. Those are a couple different copies of Mozart's Così fan tutte. So even though I have been talking about the audio, about speakers and stuff, but most of my attention is on the music. So I snapped this shot when I was comparing a bunch of different Così fan tuttes, and I was playing them, and I listened to which conducting, how it was different, how the singers were different in it, how the orchestra playing was different, how the recording was different. I had some copies that it was the same recording on different labels, and same conductor with different orchestras. And this is what I truly love about it, like listening to music that I love. Mozart is something that is really close to me. It always was. I didn't turn to it because I fell into the audio world. From a kid I loved Mozart, and this system gives me the opportunity to truly enjoy Mozart, to connect to it, to enjoy different performances. With these speakers, but even with those you see here, I have the Mirages next to my Altec speakers, and the Mirages are right now they are like a really old speakers from the 90s. It's like and if you grab them, they were still considered at their age exceptionally good speakers, and today they are coveted by people as one of the really good speakers of the era they were made. If you can find a pair of Mirage 760, grab them because they are wonderful speakers. But what the sound you will hear from them will sound like a really outdated sound, and it will sound like, okay, maybe something like a few $1,000, maybe $1,000 sound that you can. Under that I mean that they will sound like some sort of speaker that you get today for $1,000. And that delivers you a certain standard, a certain quality. A stock Mirage will give you that sort of sound quality or standard. But if you soup it up, I rebuilt the crossover completely, I redid the internal wiring and did a few mods, and it completely transformed the speakers. Now they became really at much higher level performers, to the standard that you would get from the $10,000 price category. And they allow me or you or anyone to listen to a wide range of music. You can listen to Mozart on it, you can listen to Cranberries, jazz, whatever you want. So today, audio pursuit became validation seeking for most people. And that's really tragic. Because people just want more and more and more, and best. I want perfection, I want best sound. This is bogus, and it will not lead you anywhere. Because if you want best or perfect, the audio community will validate your quest only if you can back it up with facts. And the only fact that nowadays seem to matter is the price, is the cost no object attitude. If you do not have a cost no object system, then it's not the best and it's not perfect. Maybe it is. But you will never be able to validate your point to the community because they will laugh at you. Oh, it is the best? How much money did you spend on it? Oh, you built half of it? Then it's rubbish, it doesn't even count. So if you want it for validation, you are set up for failure. Even if you are supremely loaded and you get a $2 million system and you are, the happy camper, when the next guy comes with a $3 million system, you will be kicked back to Boy Scout camp. And your happiness ends because you are just second best priest. And as I said, the next guy will always redefine what's best. And you cannot be even happy with that $2 million system because there comes a guy and he says like, wow, you have a digital system, it's really second rate next to analog. And then you get the best analog gear. And then comes another guy, well, this is really trash, outdated, only digital is the only way to go. And then you are in a mousetrap because you are getting conflicting advices. You need to find your own path. So I will show you what is my path, what I decided, how I became a successful music lover. So always for me, the number one criteria was connection to music. And how I started my audio journey is I heard gear at the very beginning that could connect me to music, and this was Audionaut gear. I heard other systems that could make a connection as well, but the level Audionaut did it was out of this world and like a massive quality jump. And that's why I urge everyone, if you can, try to find Audionaut and listen to it. And however, the problem is that what I have heard online and from people's reports is that 95% of the Audionaut systems are not set up properly, and you will not experience it at the level where it is possible. I was really fortunate to be exposed to systems that were put together by experts. So there's my message. It comes back from a couple of slides ago, that it's not enough to have $1 million system. You need the $1 million audiophile who puts that system together for you so that it unlocks the potential. If you just buy something, you don't know what to get, how to mix and match, how to adapt it to your room, then it's not going to sound maybe just 10% of its potential. And my second step was I had a burning desire to connect to music. Of course, it was magical to hear sound, right? To have like highest resolution possible and audiophile qualities. But the most visceral, most important thing is the connection to music, and that was always my first motivator, and it never let me stray away from the path. Third step, I found a mentor to learn from. When I heard Audionaut gear, when I heard the Ongaku, that's when I decided that I want to seek out the best mentor on the planet and learn from him. At the time I thought that it's Kondo-san, the man who created Ongaku, but as life had it, I found another mentor, and it turned out that to me he was the best mentor possible. And it's not just me who think that Stu was an incredible person. He is a true legend in the audio world. if you name the top 10 US high-end companies and talk to their CEOs, their engineers, they all know Stu. And they will tell you crazy stories about this unbelievable genius. And he was my mentor. And I had the desire to find him and to be his apprentice. And with that knowledge and my work that I put into it, I built my system. I constantly worked on it while keeping focus on the music. And at the same time, for the beginning of that period, I was a poor graduate student. I couldn't afford to spend much money on audio, but even with very little money, I could build a system early on. I would say within 2-3 years after starting learning from my mentor, I already had a system that could connect me to music at the same level as the top Ongaku system did. And I could do that because I didn't give a flying feather about owning the best. I just wanted to listen to music, and I recommend this to you as well. Make music your priority. And to do that, this is my key for everyone, because I've noticed that there's so much insecurity in the audio world. So much indecision. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Do not second guess yourself. Did I make the wrong decision? Did I buy the wrong gear? I should have bought the other one. Banish that insecurity from your life. Accept it. Accept your choices. Man up. Man the F major up. And after that, develop your hearing. Work on yourself. Learn how to recognize audiophile qualities in the sound. Learn to isolate things better. How to hear more. My first advice on that is, when you listen to music, close your eyes. Our brain is most focused on your vision. So when you have your eyes open, 70% of your brain's processing power goes to processing vision. If you shut your eyes, you have 70% more of your brain to dedicate to music. You can free up tremendous power to go deep into music. So, to trust yourself, to banish all insecurities, connect to music, just close your eyes and listen to music with closed eyes. And in that case, all that exists for you is just music. When you open your eyes, you are constantly dramatized and shocked by how your system looks like. If you have a system that you always wanted to own, then you will think, you will have that fake feedback that you are at the end of your road, you have reached perfection. But if you are seeing, if you have visual confirmation of small speakers, of not the best deck ever, then a lot of your music experience will be listening to an inferior system. If you close your eyes, all of this disappears. And your brain will forget about that nonsense, about that monkey wheel, and you will be able to concentrate on music. And I would say that's the path to music and to audio. And also there's a lot of people, and their insecurities stem from being too technical. They think that if I have the best measuring equipment, then I will have the best sound. I want to listen to the best sound. I don't know what's the best sound. If it measures the best, it must be the best. No, it's not. That's not how audio works. That's how computers work, yes. If it has more RAM, it has more RAM. If it has faster CPU, it has faster CPU. It's better. That's how we measure it. But for audio, that system doesn't work. As I said, measurements only work for internal quality control for a certain manufacturer. For the user, what kind of sound it produces, it has almost zero relevance. That's why if you flip up Stereophile magazine, they have classes of components. If you want best sound, as defined by the audio industry, then go for class A components. You will find a lot of things that measure great, but you will find that most of the speakers, for example, in class A components, they have some excellent measurements. All of them have pretty good frequency extension, not all, but most. But like the phase response and the peakiness within the frequency linearity, it's tragic, atrocious for many of the class A components. And they're still class A components. So if you don't want to use your ears to validate sound and music for you, then why are you doing it? It's completely pointless. It's like being a surgeon who just cares about his tool, about having the latest high gauge needle or a carbide tungsten drill or something like that. I wanted to have some Monty Python reference for you. And not caring about the patient. Just wants to rush through the surgery with the latest tools and doesn't even follow up whether the patient is alive or dead. That's not a surgeon. That's an irresponsible person. And if you are a person like that, you take that mentality into audio, you will be equally as unsuccessful as that surgeon who doesn't care about the patient. If you don't care about the music, then don't go into this path. Anyway, well, so these are my final advices. Trust your instincts, persevere, learn about music, and perfect yourself. So thank you everyone for joining us. Never give up, never surrender. Connect to music and improve yourself by becoming a member of the online audio club. So I just want to say, just like and subscribe. I don't need your likes and subscriptions. This is something you do for yourself. I have zero gain if you join the audio club. My zero financial gain. My gain is I get to know a lot of people since I started my channel. There are some people who have joined, who started commenting on my videos, and they are really fantastic people. And I really did my audio club for you guys, the ones who get really engaged, who really get inspired, who can also go on that journey where I am going. You can pick your own path. You can go towards a different sound, different ideas, but I'm able to give you information and knowledge that will propel you to walk your road faster. The likes and subscriptions are required so that people will get to hear what I'm saying, because if there's no likes, no subscribes, YouTube will not show it up on random searches. And it's only you guys who already see it that will be informed and run into my future videos. So thank you. Bye bye.